So you may know, if you've been following this series, that to be happy requires some inner work around our thoughts, our feelings, and also some outer work around our actions. But what about the higher work of happiness? What about that spiritual, mythical, or mystical part of being happy? Hi, I'm Dr. Tracey Swift, and welcome to Women Over 50 Reclaim Your Mojo, a lifestyle channel devoted to giving you the happiness advantage, drawing on the happiness research and human flourishing. So if you're new here, then please click subscribe and the bell, and you'll be alerted every time there is a new video. They'll all relate to you. If you're a regular, then welcome back. So the first tip today is to not squander your time. Do you find perhaps you're careful with your money? You know how much you've got, how much to spend, and you make conscious decisions about what you're actually going to spend your money on. What about your time? Time is the one resource that, regardless of who we are on the planet, we all have exactly the same allocation. Every day is a new day and it starts again. Imagine having a resource like that where we're all equal. So how do you spend your time? Do you fritter it away, or are there things that you do to actually grow more as a person? Do you do things that will actually elevate your mood and make you a more interesting and inspiring person to be? Do you ever give that much thought, or do you just get into a routine? If you squander time, it's like money. You can only ever spend it once. So squandering time is not a great idea, but using our time wisely and consciously enables us to be able to enter into that higher work of happiness where we are directing our lives from above. So tip number 3 is to get out into nature. And the Japanese are very famous for something called Shinrin-yoku, which is forest bathing. I love forest bathing. I'm very fortunate to have my own private forest, but every week I get out into nature. The wonderful thing about forest bathing is that there's no right or wrong way to do it, but it's about connecting with something bigger and outside yourself. And so many of these trees, as I walk through this forest, have been here for hundreds, if not thousands of years. There is at least a small pod of trees here that have been on this site for thousands of years. So the wonderful thing about forest bathing is there's no right or wrong way to do it. The key thing is by far to engage all of your senses. So to achieve that sense of stillness and that connection to something beyond yourself. So it's what can you hear? You know, can you hear the insects? Can you hear the birds? What can you smell? You know, like that earthy, moldy, just wonderful sense that you're here in the forest. You know, what can you see? What is actually delighting your senses, and what can give you that sense of stillness? For me, I just love being out here. I make it a part of my weekly routine. So I highly recommend it. There are so many studies that have shown that forest bathing is particularly useful in reducing cortisol levels and increasing happiness. Do give it a try, even if you are able to get out into nature for 30 minutes or take a walk or even visualize green open spaces. It will give you a boost and increase your happiness. Tip number 3 is to meditate. Now, I don't know about you, whether you find that meditation is something that works for you. Maybe you've tried it, maybe you struggle with it, or maybe you swear by it. So if you haven't done it before, what you may be interested to know is that there have been lots of studies done on meditation, that actually show that not only are people calmer and have an elevated mood in the moment, but for several minutes afterwards. And so happiness researchers have found that in fact you can rewire your brain permanently for happiness based on meditation. So it's certainly something worth doing. There are countless guided meditations on the internet. One that I personally use, I love Dr. Joe Dispenza and his work, and he's done lots and lots of studies with the Heart Math Institute that show the brain waves and how that's extremely helpful. And also there is quite a number of women. I'd highly recommend Jess Shepherd from Rising Higher Meditation. So many women over 50 do enjoy meditation because they say that it actually helps them with their symptoms of menopause. Tip number 4 is to practice gratitude. What do we mean by practicing gratitude? Well, one of the first things you can do, and you can do right now, is to practice saying, I am so grateful and happy that, and you can insert here or fill in the blank as to what is making you happy. And once you finish that sentence, you say it again. I am so grateful and happy that. And you can find so many things to be grateful for, and repeating that consciously and over again will actually elevate your mood. Personally, I do that twice a day. I do that in the morning when I wake up, but I also do it just before I go to sleep. And so I find that I already wake up in a great mood because I've got so many things to be grateful for. The next tip about getting into the higher work of happiness is to give back, and to do so in an unconditional way. So happiness researchers have found that the single biggest means to actually increase happiness more than anything else is for someone to do an act of kindness. And that could be anything. So perhaps you're kind by nature, or perhaps it's a bit of an effort for you. But some of the ways that you can do that is by giving your time, or by giving what's called pro-social spending, by giving money to charity or small donations, or even random acts of kindness. And if you're the recipient, for example, of a random act of kindness, has anyone ever bought you a meal in a restaurant that you didn't know or wasn't expecting? Some stranger sitting at another table? I know that's happened to me, and it gives you such a buzz and a thrill, and you realise that some people genuinely do pay it forward. But you could do that too, or you could pay the toll for the car behind you coming through the toll booth. Or you could actually donate something to a local community food bank, or you might donate your time to a non-profit organisation. Many women over 50, I find, do that because we have such a range of experience and so much wisdom and skills to be able to offer on those kind of non-profit organisations. So whether it's time or whether it's money, find a way of giving back without expectation in return. It's good for you, it's good for your soul, it's good for your inner well-being, your inner happiness, as it is for the people who are receiving it too. I find the biggest thing when I talk to clients and girlfriends is that most people of our generation want more ease, fun, and just flow in their life. It's all about ease. So if that is you, why don't you just try to concentrate on what you can control and surrender the rest? Invite that ease into your life. Because if you're feeling stuck, it might be that you're trying to micromanage everything and keep as much as you can under control, and then you've got the worries building up because you've got to keep it all in your head, and you feel that you're just stumbling around, which is not the best way to be. So control what you can control and surrender the rest. Now, surrender does not mean giving up, but it does mean being able to surrender to either a higher power or even to your inner self. You know, all guidance is within. So just to give you an example of that, sometimes I find in my writing, perhaps I'm a bit stuck. I might be up against a deadline that I need to finish, and the ideas are just not there, and I've got so many other things to do at the same time, and it's all building up. And I find that what I do for myself is that's the perfect time for me to just do another meditation where I can actually push everything out to the edges and just relax and not even think about it at all, no thought. And I find that once I finish that meditation, more often than not, what happens is I have the ideas and I have it, and it can go down on the page, word perfect, bang, it just comes to me. It's like a download. So I can highly recommend surrendering and letting go. That's just one small example. I hope it serves you. Did you know that a wandering mind is not a happy mind? Yes, happiness researchers have found that if you're always thinking about the next thing, or you think of happiness in terms of what you're going to achieve, something beyond, and you're trying to bring that into your reality, you're actually not present in this moment. And if you're not present in this moment, all those little things that you can be grateful for, all the simple pleasures are missing from your life. And so you are less happy than people who are present in the moment. So think about that for a moment. Like, what is it that right in this very moment, what sensations are there, what feelings, what thoughts, what emotions that you can actually draw on that will make you feel happy because they're here right now in this very moment. So in this particular video, we've looked at the higher work of happiness. What is it that you can connect to outside yourself, or even connecting to your inner guidance, your higher self, that will give you a sense of peace, or that will give you a sense of perspective. So being present in the moment, practicing gratitude, meditating, giving to others unconditionally without any expectation of return. All these are things that will enable you to be happy. And if you couple them with the other 21 ways that over the last 3 videos I have demonstrated thoughts, feelings and actions, you have 28 ways to be happy in any given moment. And happiness is a gift. It's the gift that you give to yourself. And happiness is always about choice. If you've liked what you've seen today, please hit like below and get in touch with me. If there are other things that you would like me to research for you,